Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be reading some Reddit stories, and what we are reading today is a couple of stories that I am personally going to call the two bridezillas stories that will make your skin bloody well crawl. You will crawl. Your skin will want to crawl off of your body and into the fire after hearing some of these. Probably, I'm going to be completely honest with you. So this first one is called "Am I the a-hole for ending a 25-year friendship over emotionally manipulative bridezilla throwing two weddings for herself?" Now, I'm going to be honest here. Personal opinion, absolutely nobody needs two weddings. Nobody needs two weddings at all. It's okay to, renew your vows, but you don't have to have a second wedding. Anyway, yeah. My former friend, who lives in another state, has only dated what she would describe as bad boyfriends. She said that they were sociopaths or users, etc. And when she met a new guy who had a very good job, she immediately moved in with him, stopped working, and they got engaged soon after. I'm going to be completely honest. You cannot immediately move in with somebody. You definitely shouldn't just stop working in any situation. And oof, immediate engagement? It didn't even take a few months? Come on, honey, didn't your mama teach you better? Didn't your nana teach you better? Anyway, he bought a house and we went to visit. My family felt that the guy was pretty unfriendly or off. And there was a ton of PDA in front of my child. And I mean, there are a lot of different things that you can do in front of kids, but public displays of affection are not one of them. You can run around with the kids, you can play with the kids, play board games, or basketballs, and, you teach them how to knit, paint with them, do arts and crafts. There are a lot of things that you can do with kids around, and none of them involve any kind of touching anyway. Yeah. And they would leave us sitting in the living room to go take a nap every day. And she ignored me to the point where I broke down in tears. I had come all this way to visit, and she acted like she didn't care. And this is a trait of hers. She hugged me and apologized, and things improved. But at the end of the day, I'm not even sure how far you traveled to go visit her, but nobody should be ignoring the people who are visiting them in their home. That's just not okay. I don't know what to say about that. That's awful. Even if it did improve, that's just awful. When they got engaged, I offered to help because she minimally helped with my wedding about 20 years ago. So, here's where the drama starts. She was all set on this particular wedding a couple of years back. I helped look at the locations remotely, and we discussed menus, the dress ideas, and the whole thing. And they were now trying to get pregnant. It was looking like she had infertility issues, and he really wanted a family. But they wanted to get married first, so he called the wedding off or postponed it to do updates on the house instead, which is her words. They were trying to get pregnant, and now they were working on getting an egg donor. Okay. I talked all of this out with her and comforted her, etc. I purposefully didn't talk about my life much at all because she was going through all of this. Please know all of our communication was over text. Okay, that's noted. That's important. Good to know. She told me that she didn't like talking on the phone a while ago, so we never ever spoke on the phone, only texts and the occasional visits when we were in each other's states. In retrospect, I get that this was a red flag. Absolutely, bae. Because, yeah, I don't even know. I feel like that's just flat out disrespectful to your time, but anyways. Fast forward about a year, and finally they have everything set for her to go get pregnante, and still, but they're still not married. A while later, she got pregnant, and they decide, okay, let's invite our close family and friends for a very small, low key, low stress mini wedding, and then maybe have a larger wedding later. The mini wedding is what I helped with, all over texts, many texts per day. We exchanged tons of photos and messages about this very small, very simple, very intimate, low key, and low stress event. As she was at an advanced age and when she got pregnant, which, yeah, you would be fairly concerned about that typically. She consistently told me how low key this was, and as we looked at pretty place settings and menus and talked about decor and dresses and everything, it was so delightful to talk about all of the nice touches, and I hope that it took her mind off of fears and discomfort of being pregnant at an advanced age, which, I mean, I hope so, but there's no real. Yeah, you can't really know that, though, sadly. The groom did not want anyone staying in his very spacious house for the wedding, and so she offered to pay for my plane ticket and an Airbnb for all the help. But I graciously declined, as gracious as you are, OP. So I got my tickets, I booked the Airbnb, and then 2 weeks later found out that the Friday before her wedding was my son's graduation from grade school. An earlier calendar version of the school year had it the following week, but the school board actually changed the calendar and moved it up a few days. It sounds almost unbelievable, and I am still upset about the late date that date change. Which, I mean, I would be too, especially since, like, those are two very important events to you. So, rather than being able to fly out early, visit the venue, look at the decor, meet the caterer, and go over everything in person to prepare, I had to be here for my child, which is understandable. You should absolutely always be there for your child, no matter what. I wouldn't even have attended the wedding. That's just me. She didn't offer another option when I told her about the date change. We were both at a loss about that, so I paid a fortune to change my ticket and flew out right after his ceremony, foregoing all the weekend graduation celebrations, even the lunch afterwards. And I regret that, especially now. My child should have come first. I agree with you. And it doesn't really matter what situation it is, no matter what, kids should always come first. Anyways, the well being of a child should always come before the thoughts and feelings of anyone else, and that is my personal opinion. I don't really care what anybody else says about that, actually. I am right, and anybody who thinks otherwise is 100% completely fudging wrong. If you don't think that the well-being of a child and, like, having your mom there for, like, your grade school graduation, like, he's gonna remember that little kid, that little boy, that little girl, I don't even know what gender the kid is, but, and I don't really care, but that baby gonna remember the fact that his mama wasn't at his grade school graduation. He's gonna remember that. And it's gonna make him sad, and it's gonna make you sad because you wanted to be there. I just had to state, I agree, like, your kids should always come first. So, I landed Friday night. I have severe altitude sickness, insomnia, and a concerning autoimmune health condition that is being diagnosed right now and is triggered by stress. So, okay, you really shouldn't be in a wedding party at all, OP. I'm sorry, honey. She knows about the insomnia and has even tried to offer solutions, but probably not the severity of the health issue because I didn't want to burden her with that. She said all along this mini wedding with 20 people or so would be simple and stress free. Right, okay. Right when I got there, there was drama with his mother who has full-blown dementia and didn't even know why she was there. The groom had no idea that his mom had any dementia, so while she was frantic and lost, we were all trying to get on with things, I guess, because, yeah, that's what you do. You just gotta try to keep on keeping on, right? Assholes. Anyways, he went out with his friends, but he was in a bad state because he didn't know that his mom was like this, and he was planning to have her be a huge part of taking care of the baby and was going to relocate her to their state. Okay, well, it's kind of sad, but at the same time, you probably should have had all this figured out and actually had some kind of contact with your mother beforehand to know. Okay. Whatever. Okay, so while that was going on, she had me, her other attendant, and the two mothers, her mom and his with dementia, try and do a formal rehearsal that night at her house. And then started to explain this DIY design element that she wanted me and her other friend to recreate down at the wedding site. We had talked about this DIY thing via text, and I understood and could do it, but she was concerned about it being right. Well, then why don't you hire somebody to do it? Oh, right, that would cost money. Then she started talking about changing the setup time in the morning. I had created a spreadsheet for her with all of the times, and my go time was 9 a.m. Knowing that I'd just flown that night and I have a history of insomnia, she changed the time at the last minute. I thought about the new time and realized with the change in the new state, which was already an hour earlier, I might not be in good shape for that early of a go time. This is not a petty concern. I am working on getting a diagnosis. But without good rest and with altitude sickness, I get very confused, disoriented, and I have bad diarrhea. I pee constantly, can be shaky on my legs, and an emotional mess. It sucks and is private and personal and embarrassing, but if I am rested, I can present myself normally. Her other friend insisted that she could handle the design element and had been to the wedding venue. She kept reassuring us that she could do it and it'd be a cinch. It was simple after all. If she had not been so confident, I would have pushed somehow to shift the time back to the original 9 a.m. go time, just to just get it done and get it done right. That was the whole reason I was there, to help. After she changed the setup, it was agreed that at 9 a.m. I'd be at the bride's house helping her get ready, then go to the location, help her and her other attendant with their makeup, and also throughout the rest of the event, which I did. Good for you, OP, because I'm sorry, but I would not have had all that energy. In the evening after the wedding lunch, instead of a reception, they had a baby shower. A couple of the guests seemed off to me, like not very nice. Now I know she badmouthed me to them. No. Back home, I sent a text to her to say I thought she looked gorgeous and it went beautifully. She was short in her reply. A few weeks later, after I got back from a family vacation, I touched base with her again. And just the tone of her text, I'd realized that she was angry with me for not being at the site to do the setup. I immediately wrote a very heartfelt reply explaining what my experience was and my apologies, etc. It took me 3 hours to write. And she replied with a short, cruel text saying that I flaked on her, that I said rude things, never clarified by the way, and I never said anything rude. And that I could not set aside my own needs just for one day. That she could not bear to look at the pictures from the wedding. That I kept offering to help and lesson learned. What the heck does that mean? Bee snatch? Oof. She then said that there was something wrong with the baby, so immediately I dropped all that and focused on helping her and being there for her. She made it through the delivery, and the baby is healthy and perfect. I sent gifts and we were on good terms. And then I get a mass email announcing that she's throwing herself a large, splashy wedding and everyone can come meet the baby. I wrote back saying that I thought it would be a really nice event, sending the best wishes, etc. No reply from her. What? Okay. She has displayed microaggressive behavior since then, yeah, all via text. And then, when I said that I would graciously not be attending the larger wedding, she disregarded my text completely. My last text was asking how her baby was, and she ignored it. She's mean. I realized that this was intentional and finally sent a very firm text message telling her that she crossed a line and that I can't have friends like that in my life. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. No, you're not the asshole at all, because most of this could have been easily like all you had to do, all that the bride had to do was just say it's okay, you don't have to be there. Like that's ugh. Let's go to the comments because yeah, you're not the a-hole. She offered to pay for my plane ticket and an Airbnb, and I graciously declined. Why did you decline? OP answered, it could have been my pride to just say, look, I can't afford this. And they asked for no gifts, so I felt covering my own travel costs was the least that I could do. It was affordable before I changed the ticket to attend the graduation. And do most guests pay for their own plane tickets and hotel? I didn't cover any guest costs at my wedding except we paid for all the bridesmaid gowns. Okay. The next one. You set yourself up for this madness. Your concept of friendship, setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, is a guaranteed way to end up sad, depressed, and wondering where it all went wrong. At absolutely no point in all this did you not notice the one sidedness of this friendship. She used you. She uses everyone that it seems. Not the a-hole for being a friend at face value, but somewhere along the way you should have realized that she wasn't your friend. Which, you know what? This is not just. This is something that a lot of people have to understand. Our people pleasingness cannot always be the big thing. I'm sorry, but it can't. I have to take these off. Oh god, I can't get them off. Oh, they're making my eyes water. I can't deal with it. Oh, I'll fix that up right quick. There we go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to take them off. No more fake lashes. They bug me. They bug my eyes. I'm not gonna use them anymore. I wasted my money. Anyway. Oh, gosh. But yeah, I do think that we all need to stop with the people pleasing because we cannot just keep people pleasing all the time. And I understand because I myself am a recovering people pleaser, still in recovery. Just saying. There's not really a whole lot getting around it at some points because we just can't help it. The need to please is always there. And I mean, we can put up with some really nasty stuff just because we want to please everybody in our lives, but you can't please everybody, and we need to figure that out. Anyway, our next bridezilla that's gonna make our skin crawl. This one is called Bridezilla's Post Wedding How to Proceed. Hi, y'all. I have a bit of a need for advice, but in order to get there, backstory and context are necessary. It might turn out to be quite the read. Well, I guess we're about to find out now, aren't we? Ah, sorry, babies. We gotta keep a water in us. We need some water so that we can keep the hydrated. I'm so weird. Why am I so weird? It's a good thing y'all love me. You do love me, right? Can you tell me if you love me in the comments? I love you. I love all of you. It all started roughly a year ago when my brother N and his fiance A started planning their wedding. They both approached me and asked me if they could use my property in COUS as a venue for their destination wedding. We are European and live in Europe. Okay. I happily agreed, but I had some stipulations as I absolutely adore this home and I have spent an unreasonable amount of time and money restoring it myself. Okay, you're absolutely allowed to set rules for your own home and your own dwelling, so that just seems fair. So, how many rules are there and what are they? No more than 25 guests in total. My reasoning for this was that given the nearest town or hotel is 50 minutes away, people would be spending the night at my house. This was this was per A's wishes. Not only was there no physical space, that many people would already be an absolute disaster for my septic system. Yeah, I kind of get that. Your septic systems are a lot more touchy than people think that they are. Anyway, no permanent altering of anything in or around the property. This is because it's my property that I worked hard on and for, and I decided this. Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody, like, making any kind of alterations to my property that wasn't just, like, hang up decorations and stuff either. I would be very upset, especially with the amount of work that somebody typically puts into their home to make it feel like their home. Anyway, because of my protectiveness of the property, I picked, made, and paid for caterers and decor in order to ensure no damage. Okay, so that's actually really nice of OP. The happy couple agreed, and planning proceeded. But as they drew closer, I was contacted by the bride with the following demands. She needed 45 guests and not 25. So literally double the amount of people that OP already said that no. 25 is already pushing it, honey. This is somebody's home. You crazy? She wanted me to paint the freshly restored, mind you, beautiful oak white so that it would be more weddingy. No, you don't put paint on oak. If you put paint on freshly restored oak, you are not only a monster, but the sheer fudging embodiment of Satan him fricking self. End of story. Next. She wanted me to pay for her family to fly in, as I was loaning my other brother the money to do so. No. I'm not paying for somebody else's family to fly in. I'll pay for my siblings and their children and wife to fly in. I'm not paying for your entire family and extended family. No. Excuse me? We ain't playing this game today. I refused. Words were had. For example, she called my adopted children rescues. Okay, we're going to war. That's it. This woman, not only should she not be allowed to have her wedding on your property anymore just because of that comment alone, but you shouldn't even attend the wedding. Especially, can somebody please tell OP's brother the way that his fiance is acting? Because I don't think he knows, and if he does know, He needs a reality check. Well, the wedding was yesterday, and to my surprise, myself and all of my children were invited. I at first declined, but was eventually mellowed down by the fact that it was my little brother's big day. Okay, fine. Fine. Still wouldn't be happy about it. Ooh. I went last minute shopping so that we could be able to adhere to the dress code and even texted the bride photos of the outfits. Is this okay? She was very civil, very polite, and even seemed grateful that we would show up after all. The wedding starts, my brother, his wife, and their children all look extremely happy and beautiful. And it was a beautiful wedding, and I began to think that all of the dust had settled. Until this morning. What happened? I woke up to a text message from A explaining that she and my brother were both very disappointed that I hadn't gifted them the amount in cash that I would have spent on the decor and food had the wedding been in my house. Well, sorry, honey, but you're not getting cash for being a bee with an itch. Anyway. I am yet to respond. Frankly, I'm hurt because I thought that they were reaching out to repair our relationship. Instead, they just wanted me to gift roughly 10 times of what I gifted them, despite me already losing out because of the deposits. No. I'd send her a bill, let alone... No, I would not be sending this woman money. I would be sending her a bill for the deposits that you made. Thank ya. Anyway. So, I'm considering no contact and completely walking away. I would miss my nibblings immensely, and I dread the idea of dividing my family like that, as our parents and extended family would be forced to navigate around the whole issue. At this point, I am just so hurt and angry that it would even happen. So, to those of you whose relationships survived the whole Bridezilla saga, what did you do? And how did you do it? Was it worth it? And then there's an update about a day later. As many of you suggested, I contacted my brother, and in the midst of small talk, I asked him if he was pleased with my gift. He expressed being surprised with the fact that they still got one, given the fact that I had already lost money in the deposits, because your brother actually has a brain. Ugh! When I tell you, my blood boiled. Now, I have never in my life done something petty. Recovering people pleaser here, so am I, my dear. Join the club. But, in that moment, I decided to return the assholery in kind. Family dynamics be damned. Yes. Yes! Sorry, I don't know why I'm so excited. First of all, I told my brother. He apologized and told me to ignore it. I told him I would not be doing that. He said, well, I can't stop you, and you can't stop her. Nothing will stop her. Nothing will ever stop a woman who's mad. I can't stop you, he said, and he'd never take away my spot in my nibbling's life. That's so sweet. Gotta love the nibblings. Sweet little babies. So, I screen grabbed everything and I took it to social media. I tagged her, I tagged my brother, tagged my parents, tagged her siblings and parents. And then I went on this incredibly passive-aggressive childish rant on how I wanted to avoid misunderstandings within my social and family circle, and how sorry I was that my efforts weren't to the bride's liking. My post went up about 3 hours ago, and the only message that I've opened so far is my brother stating, roughly translated, woke up and chose violence. He doesn't really seem to care too much. I will be going no contact with my sister-in-law for the foreseeable future, and I am now 100% done with this nonsense. Thank you for the advice, all of you. I've got to say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I love it. I love it. It's great. Oh gosh. So, the first comment says, don't answer her, talk to your brother about it. Hopefully he isn't disappointed with your gift and it's just her being ridiculous. Yes, that is exactly what it was. Oh. This is just ridiculous. But these have been 2 bridezilla stories that will make your skin crawl. And thank you so much for coming and watching our YouTube video today. Thank you oh so much for staying this long and watching till the end of the video. If you have made it to the end of the video, please like the video if you haven't liked the video yet. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because this is one of the most awesome YouTube channels you have ever been to. And if you really don't want to miss a video, then it's best to subscribe and hit that little bell icon right over there, because, yeah, you don't want to miss any videos, do you? We have all the stories, we go on all the adventures, we do all the reactions. And we love you. And come on. Who doesn't want to come and hang out with me and my gnomies? Anyways, I love you guys, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.